You know something? I had some difficulty in adjusting to the new form of warfare that unfolded with the Civil War. But I did not let this prevent me from keeping the Union armies in Virginia at bay for almost 3 years. I am best known as the leader of the Southern forces in the Civil War. Did you know that I could as easily have been commander of the Union Army? Shortly before the first shots were heard in the Civil War, I was offered that position. However, like I told my sister in a letter that I wrote to her, with all my devotion to the Union and the feeling of loyalty and duty of an American citizen, I still have not been able to make up my mind to raise my hand against my relatives, my children, my home. The looming war created a terrible dilemma for me. I felt that the people of the North were interfering with the rights of Southern states. I believed the federal government was overstepping its bounds. However, I also believed in the principles on which America was founded. Although I owned a few slaves, I considered slavery a moral and political evil. Honor and morality were very important to me. This included submission to proper authority. I felt that the action of the Southern states was wrong. Secession damaged the things for which the Founding Fathers had fought. Character was a major part of my upbringing. I was born in Virginia in 1807. I was the youngest son of Revolutionary War hero Light Horse Harry Lee. My father frequently held up former Commander George Washington as a role model to his 6 children. Our lives should be marked by the same honor and integrity, urged Father, as that possessed by the great Washington. My father was absent for much of my childhood. Besides that, Light Horse Harry was never good at financial matters. The family was never well off. When I was 11 years old, my father died. Mother was hard-working and thrifty. She raised her children to be strong in faith, kindness, and love. I did well in school. I learned Greek and Latin and excelled at math. When it came time to choose a career, I looked to the military. I decided that West Point was my best chance. The elite academy was free to young men from Virginia. There were always more applicants for the state scholarships than there were openings. Influential friends of my family put in a good word for me. My father's status as a national hero helped as well. Mother urged me to submit my application in person. Face to face, she was certain my character would shine through, and she was right. I was accepted into West Point. I tried to justify the confidence others had in me. I graduated second in my class. Even more remarkably, I sailed through my years at the academy without one demerit. No cadet since has broken that record. I emerged as a second lieutenant in the Army Corps of Engineers. A few years later, I married Mary Custis, great-granddaughter of Martha Washington. Eventually, we had 7 children. I served under Winfield Scott in the Mexican War in the 1840s. I was told that I showed a talent for tactics and strategy. My daring approach brought victory in several instances, and I rose through the ranks. Meanwhile, the tension between North and South was building to war. In 1861, Texas seceded. It was then that President Lincoln asked me to lead the Union Army. Then my beloved home state of Virginia seceded. The vision of taking up arms against home and family was more than I could bear. I resigned my commission and offered my services to the Confederacy. Confederate President Jefferson Davis was a former West Point classmate. He made me his military advisor and then commander of Confederate forces. My bold strategy brought important victories. I tried to show kindness and personal integrity to my men and won their love and admiration. Through sheer persistence and force of numbers, however, the Confederates were worn down. I surrendered, asking for leniency for my men. After the war, I became a peacemaker. I am rejoiced that slavery is abolished. I believe it will be greatly for the interest of the South. So fully am I satisfied of this that I would have cheerfully lost all that I have lost by the war to have this object attained. I urged Southerners to accept federal rule. I applied for restoration of my U.S. citizenship and took the required loyalty oath. I advised others to do the same. Because of a mix-up, though, my papers were never processed. In the fall, I became president of Washington College in Virginia. I put in place a simple but effective code of conduct for my students. We have but one rule, and it is that every student is a gentleman.